Scottie Barnes has gotten a lot of national love this year, which runs counter to what happened last season.
Face of the league.
Your face that, by the way, that Darko rant, one of the most iconic ones of all time.
Yeah,
I was asked to rank it for a mailbag we did, and I was like, I don't know where it actually ranks, but it's an 11 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. So with Scottie, and he is my most improved player as of right now. I saw Nekias Duncan was kind of starting the Joel Embiid for most improved player bandwagon, and I'm sure a ton of people will board it.
Nekias, come on.
Look, I can't. I like when I find out that I agree with Nekias before knowing what he thinks. It makes me feel good. Like if it's you or Caitlin Cooper, I don't know what you guys think, and I find out we agree. It's great. This would be one I just diverge from on him. It's Scottie as of now for me. Let's start with the offensive end. What do you think is what's been most impressive or what stood out the most about his growth offensively this year?
So there's two big things. The first one is that, I've done this thing. I don't think I'll do it this year, but I've done it for his rookie season and his sophomore season where I watch every possession back and I track everything that's going on and I write these big pieces. And he was really, by the numbers, he really struggled in the pick and roll last year. That wasn't a place where he took a big step. And largely he struggled because he was facing unders, he was facing switches, and he was facing push switches. And he didn't really know how to initiate against all that kind of stuff. And it really made him struggle as a half-court scorer. So with that, Scottie was a guy who this season has been emboldened by Darko with more pick and roll possessions. Scottie is a guy who has made, incremental leaps as a driver and playmaker and in between shot maker. And all of that kind of stuff has coalesced into where the numbers are much better than they were last season when you account for like playmaking and scoring. And he's facing a more diverse set of coverages. And because of his shooting leap, he's actually facing more aggressive coverages that really help him take advantage of his height as a passer. And so like you even see like these plays where he like wiggles downhill, like snakes the pick and roll, can play make like, because of who Scottie is as a playmaker, he can play make to the above the break behind him. He can go to opposite corner, same corner, dunker spot, wherever it needs to be, he'll play make to. He's been really impressive there. Those types of steps as a lead initiator are huge. And part of that is like having a little bit better handle, getting through the reps, understanding how defenses are going to try and treat you, kind of being proactive as a playmaker and a scorer to like hedge against what they want to do. And then on top of that, a big reason why Scottie has been able to score more in the half court, because he has limitations as a dribbler and like from a standstill to create stuff. I think that being able to hit above the break threes just means that he gets to take more shots in the half court.
He's still at 37% on those. I know it's come down, but like 37% on above the break threes is great.
Yep. And on high volume, right? So that's fantastic. And that has been, for Scottie, a guy who came into the league and scored on offensive rebounds, cuts, and in transition, and then his second season offensive rebounds, cuts, and transition, he'll like get 15 points a game doing just that basically until he's like 36. I'm sure he just is able to do that. He's a physical, he's a beast out there. He's tough to contend with. He's so confident with a live dribble, particularly with his left hand going downhill in transition. He just forces the defense to make decisions. He'll always score there. In the half court, though, when there's like help defense present, guys are gapping him, all that kind of stuff is showing up. He might struggle to navigate those situations at this point early on in his career. But what simplified all that is just hitting threes. And it's 36.7% right now. It was 38 and above for a really long time. It's been 29% since the trade was made. I think just because of how good his touch is and has been since he came into the league, whether it's like at the rim or short mid range, he's passable from the free throw line. I think that he is like a passable to good above the break 3-point shooter. That's a massive step because he shot 29% from three last year.
Yeah.
It's something he struggled with immensely, and he just made this huge jump. And the type of jump he made is typically not made by wings. It's typically not made by guys in their third year. Usually it's like a guy like Julius Randle who is super streaky and has like 1 year where it's very bad and 1 year where it's very good. And then you look at that in like StatHead or something, and it says, this is the guy who made the jump. Scottie making it like 29 to 37.
Yeah.
Kind of nuts, right? Pretty crazy. So that's something that, like, those two things are the biggest motivators for offensive change, and just having more possessions where he leads the offense in transition, having more possessions where he's the guy making the decisions. You're going to see a big bump in like playmaking. You're going to see a big bump in scoring and all that kind of stuff. So shooting and ball handling, I think, has been the biggest steps he's taken. And that's like a big deal. Huge.
Have you noticed anything different about like sort of his processing speed in the half court situations? Because the thing I noted too is it seems like his interior passing has got a lot better. And you even mentioned him finding guys in the dunker spot. And I was looking and watching a bunch of stuff on it, and it just feels, I know you said he can still struggle when he's like drawing doubles or collapses, but he feels like, I don't want to say night and day, but so much better there. And then I even went and looked it up, but like, even if he's getting it with his back to the basket, like he has an assist rate of 31+% on elbow touches. So I looked up the field. I want to be clear. The volume is different, but only Zion and Jokic have like at least 100 elbow touches with a 30+ assist rate. That feels like kind of just a mega jump for him. Is that something that you've actually noticed, or did I just not notice enough of it during his first 2 years?
I think that it's helped that they're like the Raptors didn't cut very often the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
Like you'd see a guy like I never got to write the piece actually since Precious got traded, to be honest with you. But
that was my most improved player pick last season, by the way. Was Precious preseason? Was Precious Achiuwa? That didn't pan out so well.
I really like Precious still. He's had a couple awesome games with the Knicks, something to keep an eye on. But like Precious, for example, was 93rd in points per chance on cuts last season per second spectrum, right? But he was 16th in frequency, which isn't a lot. And the Raptors had a bunch of guys like OG and Pascal and Precious and Chris Boucher and Scottie, who, how do you get guys who are maybe like massive, finish really well, but are limited with a dribble? How do you get them to the rim? You cut. That way they don't have to dribble there themselves, to make them catch it high and keep it high, you know? Same with Jakob Poeltl. And the Raptors this season, way more cutting to help utilize those touches from Scottie and from Pascal when he was there, right? So that's probably a lot of the correlation I would expect is due to cutting frequency. But on top of that, like he is making better reads. He is drawing a little bit more aggressive defenses, which means that he gets to rely on not so much his shot making, but like his playmaking. So as a live dribble guy, there's like getting deeper, being a little bit more comfortable with contact, with guys crowding him from behind, not just like in front, that kind of stuff. Those are the small steps he'll continue taking. But as far as like being a guy who takes pressure, sees the release valve, finds it, or like feigns to the release valve and finds like the ultimate pass on a possession, he's so good at that. He's a tremendous and wonderful passer in the NBA for sure.